Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francesa podcast on the Bet Rivers Network, brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. We come to you after a full day of baseball. Let's take the Yankees first as they get another wild game in Cleveland and now take a commanding 3-1 lead. But they were extremely fortunate to win this game. The Noel ball could have easily gone out of the ballpark in the seventh inning. Thomas, that was ball 4 to start the ninth inning. They should have had the bases loaded with no out. Big picture here. As the Dodgers have a 3-2 lead and the Yankees have a 3-1 lead, you cannot, if you're the Yankees, go in the pen every night in the fourth and fifth inning and expect to win a series against a good team. I mean, you're asking so much of your pitchers, and you've seen, I don't know if Weaver was ever going to come in that game tonight or not, but they have figured him out. They have figured Holmes out. All right? I mean, tonight you got a gutty performance from Leiter, who was an inch away from giving up a 3-run jack that would have lost the game. They got a good inning out of Canely, or at least a representative inning out of Canely. It could have been a lot worse. They easily could have dropped this game tonight. And like I said, you cannot get just a couple of innings out of your starters and turn it over to the pen every single game. It's going to come back to haunt you, especially if you wind up playing the lineup like the Dodgers. Now, let's not get to that series yet. We'll get to it then. But this is a cautionary tale right now. They need more out of their starting pitchers. You can't say, oh, I got 3, I got 4, I'm good now, let me go to the pen. Their pen's not good enough for that. It's not deep enough for that. And you're wearing these guys out. And the more they see these guys, the more they hit them. And Cleveland is in a big-time team, and they're pounding Holmes, and they were pounding Weaver. Now, on the plus side, Torres again with another big at-bat. I've told you time and again how good he is in these at-bats, and you see it. Last night, the sac fly. Tonight, the base hit. Hit a really legitimate ball off. So did Volpe. Volpe and Torres hit legitimate base hits off Clase. Clase has killed him. When you have a reliever who's had the year he had and then have him blow 2 games, that's a killer. But when a closer comes in a tie game, it's a different story. It really is. And the Yanks have figured him out. There's no question about it. He's not fooling anybody right now. The Indians, I'm sure, are going to be very upset that they didn't find a way to steal this game tonight. They could have. They have to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, listen, we came into this and all we thought about was Soto and Judge. We may have forgotten Stanton, and that's not a smart move in the postseason. Stanton now tonight moved ahead of Babe Ruth. Now, Babe Ruth's, all his home runs are in the World Series, just like Mickey Mantle's home runs are all in the World Series. So I'm not trying to equate a divisional playoff game to a World Series game. And I don't like when anybody does that. But my point is, we're just talking simple math here. This guy is hitting a home run. He's got 15 home runs in fewer bats. I think he's been up 125 times with 15 homers, and Ruth's been up 129 times with 15 homers. I mean, that's when you have numbers that are compared to Babe Ruth, that is unbelievable. This guy is just a wrecking crew right now. I don't agree with not batting him behind Judge. I would bat him behind Judge because there's no one else in the lineup who deserves to be there. And righties don't bother these guys. So what are you worried about? Stacking what? Who's coming in? Ken Sokolvy? I mean, what are you, Dan Quisenberry? What are you worried about? Make them pay when they walk Judge. Make them pitch to Stanton, and they won't walk Judge. Not right now. So I don't want to see Chisholm up there. I don't want to see Wells up there. I don't want to see anybody else up there. Torres, Soto, Judge, Stanton, and make them go through that the rest of the way. You're getting nothing but quality at bats out of Torres. You're getting nothing but quality at bats out of Soto. Judge has reemerged, and now you have Stanton. Make somebody go through that. Just like if you play the Dodgers, you're going to have to go through Ohtani and Betts and Teoscar, who obviously has not hit against the Mets. And I don't know what to make of Freddie Freeman. He looks like a mummy right now. So, again, we'll talk about that in the days to come. But you didn't know what you were going to get out of Heel tonight because he hadn't pitched in so long. The Yankees are now in a commanding position. I don't think it was great to get Weaver up tonight because once you get a guy up, it's like pitching him. He did get up. He didn't come in the game, but it's still the same. It's definitely wear and tear on him at this stage of the season and at this stage of his use. They'd like to get this wrapped up and get some rest for their staff before obviously they're expecting, as we shift to the Mets here for a second, obviously they're expecting to see the Dodgers. We know that. Everybody now is anticipating a Yankee-Dodger World Series. They're both going home. The Yankees might not even have to go home. They have one free shot in Cleveland before they have to go home. But if they are going home, they're going home with a 3-2 lead. Dodgers are going home with a 3-2 lead. Dodgers got what they needed out of that game today. They made the Mets throw their guys, and they were able to save their guys. We know how hard this is going to be for the Mets, but let's first give the Mets great credit. Because the one thing you wanted to see them do to really put a bow on this accomplishment of this season was to not go down in their building. Give their fans a moment. And from the Alonso home run right through the game, they did that. They pounded, they flexed their muscle, they got their W, and now they go back and, hey, they have Manaea on the mound, and they're playing with house money. They're completely playing with house money. Nobody expects them to pull this off. And if they do, it will be one for the ages. And will launch them into the World Series. But it's been a wonderful season, and that was a wonderful finish to this season. They didn't go down in their own building. They did not give their fans another thrill in the NLCS. They gave them a moment. And every fan, any fan of this team is going to spend the winter incredibly proud of this team and feeling they are building for something special, even if they do lose as expected in Los Angeles. That's what had to happen today, and it did. It did. I mean, listen, they're walking too many guys. The Dodgers can pound them from pillar to post. We know that. The Dodgers can score runs pretty much, at will in the series. They're most likely going to find a way to emerge victorious. But the Mets have earned something by getting to Game 6 and to force Game 6 and make them go back across the country. And who knows, maybe even get a chance to force a winner-take-all Game 7. If they get the right game. Now, to me, they can't go back in the bullpen in the third inning and beat the Dodgers in Game 6. So they have to get a performance out of Manaea that's as good as Manaea has had all year. They have to get, to me, at least 6 really good innings out of him to have a chance to win that Game 6. Because their bullpen just does not have the ability to shut them down over a period of time. They're going to score runs, and they're going to have that, that wave's going to come over you with their offense, and they have the real quality throwers out of that pen who we know what they've done in this series. I mean, you've seen enough of Ohtani, you've seen enough of Betts, you've seen enough of Kiki Hernandez, you've seen enough of Max Muncy. These guys have been unbelievable. Ingram's had the center fielder's had a good series. He's had a very good series. They actually have gotten a couple of guys out consistently. They've gotten Teoscar has done nothing against them. All right, he's had a bad series. I'm not even sure he's had a hit yet. Will Smith's done nothing. He hasn't done anything the whole playoffs. But again, if you're the Dodgers, you can live with that. But Edmonds had a good series, and Muncy's obviously had a great series, and you go on and on from there. And Betts with what he's doing, and Ohtani's going to be on base 3 or 4 times a night because you're going to walk him, and he's going to get some hits. You try and keep him in the park. And now you got the center fielder who, flexes his muscles today and hits a couple of home runs. Bat ninth hits a couple of home runs, knocks in 4 runs. So we know what kind of depth and quality they have in that lineup. And we know what kind of hard throwers they have there. But to me, what had to happen was they had to have a game here where they didn't get pounded. So, you didn't want all 3 games at Citi Field to be just one-sided beatings because it would leave a bad taste. That's why getting a game today like this was really another big positive for them and will serve them well going forward. And to me, hey, let's be honest. You're playing with house money. So is Cleveland. If Cleveland comes back here, if they can force a game 6, come back here and force a game 6, you know what? They're playing with house money. I understand the matchup for 6 is going to be terrible for them. We all understand that. If they can find a way to win game 5, they're going to see Cole in game 6. I understand that. But the bottom line is these teams get to a point where there's no pressure on them. There's no pressure on the Mets now. There's no pressure on the Indians if they can get through this game 5. If they lose in 5, they're not going to be happy losing their own building, the whole thing. If they can do what the Mets did and get out of there with a win and force it back to Yankee Stadium, they've done their job. They can hold their head high. The Mets can hold their head high now, no matter what happens. And I understand Die Hard is like, hey, Manaya's going to throw a great game and the Mets are going to find a way and then we're going to all hands on deck, beat them with an all hands on deck game in the game. Fine. There's no reason not to think that. We've seen it happen before in baseball. But the Dodgers are a better team. We know that. That's not an insult. They're a better team. They have a lot, they're a better team than the Yankees. Yankees can beat them. Yankees clearly have better starting pitching if it pitches well. But they can, they can beat the Yankees. We all know that. And they'll be favored to beat the Yankees. Slight, but they'll be favored to beat them. But both teams have their work. Neither one has won the series yet. And the Yankees just counting their blessings that after blowing a 6-2 lead, that they were able to get out of there with a win tonight and take the pressure off with a 3-1 lead. Because can you imagine getting ready for a game 5 if the Yankees had lost this game tonight? With the way the bullpen looks now? Would be an anxious evening. An anxious evening in Cleveland. No question about it. So there's some things about this Yankee team that you have to be concerned about. But first things first, get this series over with and get into the World Series. That's obviously always been the goal. As I've said, it would have been a different equation if the Mets were there. It changes things. Absolutely changes things. And don't think the Yankees didn't get a couple of breaks tonight, because that Noel ball was, Verdugo's back was to the wall as he caught that. He just caught it at the end of the bat. And I'm sorry, but the 3-2 pitch from Canley to Thomas in the ninth inning was an outrageous call to call that strike three. I would have got tossed. If I were the manager or him, I would have gotten tossed, because that was a horrific call. But they got out of it. They got a W, and hey, that's the idea. Get there, get a win. Doesn't have to be pretty, but I can't survive throwing 4.5, 4 1/3, or 4 2/3, or 5 innings out of the pen every night. It's too hard to do. Night after night after night. Darling made a great point. And in his game, and Smoltz made a great point also. And they both were about the bullpen. They both said the same thing. Hey, you don't want your starting pitcher, unless he's someone very special, to see the lineup turn her over for the third time. You want him out of the game before the lineup turns for the third time. But you throw your closer against these guys night after night after night, and your relievers against them night after night. And what about this sense of familiarity there? These guys get used to these guys. It's not like they see the guy once a month. He comes in, he blows them away. Hey, they see him night after night after night in the postseason. And advantage hitter. They get used to this stuff. They figure out how to deal with it. Plus, these guys, a lot of these relievers are on fumes. They get tired. They're getting tired. Plus, it amazes you, doesn't it, when you see these sure-handed fielders, really good fielders, not make plays when the pressure's on. Listen, Rizzo's incredible he's always been a great first baseman. I was shocked he dropped that ball. I understand he didn't get it, and he also was worried about a collision, I think, and he also was stumbling across the bag a little bit, but his hands are usually so good, I would have thought he would have absolutely held on to that ball. He might have held on to the ball and got hit, but I understand he was off balance. But I also think that he's out there. It's a little chilly at night. He stiffens up, and his hands are not what they usually are, because he's coming off, broken fingers. So obviously his hands are not, as dependable as they've been. He didn't look good on balls last night, and he didn't look good on that ball there. He should have made that play. Then the shortstop doesn't make the play. I mean, give Verdugo credit for even making contact there, because that was what he was trying to do. I'm going to get the head of the bat out quick. I'm going to make some contact and make them make a play at the plate. And that's what he did. Because after he blew Wells away, which I knew he would, I thought he would blow Verdugo away too. And Verdugo, early in the count, get the head of the bat out and make some contact, and at least, even if it's soft contact, get the ball in play and make them make a play. And the inning broke open from there. Torres hits a line drive base hit to knock in the second run, which was critical. Just like he hit the sac fly the other day to make it 5-3, he gets that base hit to make it 8-6. He is very good in those situational at-bats in the postseason. He has very good at-bats, even against big pitchers. He has been a really unsung hero. I mean, Stanton's been the star. Soto and Judge have had their moments without any question. Stanton's been unbelievable. But Torres has done a very, very nice job. He really has. He's done a good job for 2 months. much maligned this season, rightly so, for his lackadaisical play, for his bad infield play, for his terrible base running, for his, sometimes head in the clouds approach and lack of hustle. But he has really done a terrific job the last 2 months in the leadoff spot. And he's a big positive right now. He really is. We give him a lot of grief, all of us. But there are things about him you're going to miss when he's gone, because he has a very good amount of ability. So the Yankees find themselves 1 win away, 3 shots to do it, to finally get to a World Series after 15 years. The Mets fly to the coast, get an off day tomorrow, and we'll get a chance with a pitcher they have to feel very comfortable to have on the mound. They get a chance, playing with house money, to go in there and see if they have a 2-part miracle. They have surprised everybody in Atlanta. They have stunned everybody in Milwaukee. They have continued that through Philadelphia. And now they could write the biggest chapter in Los Angeles. It won't be easy. It will take a minor miracle. That team is better. But hey, they're getting ready for Game 6. That's all you can ask for. Cleveland's got it tougher. They got to come up with 3 wins. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening under any circumstances. I don't know if it ends tomorrow or not. If it doesn't, I think it'll end in Game 6. But the bottom line is, if you're kicking, you got a chance. So, kudos to the Mets. Kudos to the Yankees, although there's some things that you didn't love about this game. But they do find themselves up 3-1 and 1 step away from finally, and let's be honest, over the last 15 years, since 2009, and 2009 was such an important victory for the Yankees, because there are a lot of people who would not be with the Yankees even today if 2009 had not happened. Because remember, 2001 was a tough defeat in Game 6 and 7. 2003 was a series that everybody thought they were going to win up 2-1, and they wind up getting beaten 6. 2004, and you have that special coming up on Netflix this coming week. Mike Barnacle's kids have this thing. I'm pretty sure they call it The Comeback. It's a 3-part series on Netflix. I know because I taped about 2 hours of stuff with them over the summer about the 2004, Red Sox comeback. And the only game I wasn't at in that series. No, I wasn't at games 4 or 5. I was at 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. 4, I was in the studio Sunday night when the Yankees were 3 outs away. 5, the Yankees blew the lead again with Gordon and Mariano. And now they came back for the Bloody Sock game, Game 6. I was in the buildings for 1, 2, 3 in Boston, 19-8. And then 4 and 5, I was here. And then 6 and 7, we were in the stadium. And 7, I was sitting about 5 rows behind home plate with the Mad Dog, and happy birthday to the Mad Dog belatedly. It's not his birthday anymore. It was yesterday, so it's a little after 12 now, but I wished him a happy birthday. With the dog, with Eddie Coleman, who had his father's glove, who never saw the Red Sox win a World Series. And we sat together, and we took Eddie to the game. And I had to live through that. And Dog got 9 innings of giving me back all the years that I haunted him, where the Yankees had been losing in early playoff games or losing in World Series games, only to have Dog barking at me the whole time, and I come back and get the win late as the Yankees rally, like Game 1 against San Diego, or a million other times. Okay, the Arizona games, or whatever it might have been. That night, it was 8-0 after 2 innings, and there was no coming back. And so I did a lot of stuff with these guys, and I know they were very happy with their product. I haven't seen it yet. It's called The Comeback. It's a 3-part Netflix done by the Barnacle kids, Mike Barnacle's kids. Not kids now; they're grown men. And it airs, I'm pretty sure, the 24th or 25th on Netflix. It debuts, so you can check it out. So you have that series, which obviously changed everything for the Red Sox, the Yankees, and then at least they had 09, where they won that championship, and what it meant to all those Yankees. A-Rod's postseason performance that year, setting an RBI record, Joe Girardi, go down the list. And what the pressure would have been through the teens, through some of those terrible performances in the teens in the postseason, losing to the teams they did, especially the Tiger games. And you realize it's been 15 years since the proud Yankee team has been to a World Series. So there's no minimizing how much this means to this franchise to get back to a World Series this year. They have not been able to do it for so long. And, it was always their birthright. And now it hasn't happened. So being there will be special. It's been 15 years. So just being there. And then if it does turn out to be either the Mets, which would be special, or the Dodgers, which will be special, it's going to be a series that has a lot going for it right from the start. Ohtani and Judge, and just Yankees, Dodgers, and some of the classic series they had. And if the Mets ever find a way to come up with a couple of miracles, and this wouldn't be a minor miracle, this would be a major miracle if they won 2 games in Los Angeles. But if they were alive and kicking in the series, they would be the miracle Mets all over again. They would be exceedingly special. And then this series would have so much going for it. It would be off the charts at this point. So you're looking at a very, very good World Series once the Yankees can find a way to beat the Indians one more time. And no one's minimizing that, whether it comes tomorrow or comes in the next couple of days at Yankee Stadium. It is imperative that it happens. A loss in the series would be crushing. But now up 3-1, that should not happen. And then we can start talking about the Yankees and the World Series again, which has been a very long time coming. We'll see you later.